Hello, 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 hello. Check it out, see if everyone can hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Hey everybody, how's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's having a good day. We're gonna talk about some pretty serious shit here real quick. I only got about 45 minutes, maybe a little longer, but we're gonna cover quite a bit of stuff here. I'm just gonna let a couple people get in real quick. But yeah, man, this stuff's getting pretty scary. We got some super good news though. I think Gary Gensler's actually on our team as well. So we got a lot of stuff we're gonna go over, but I'm just gonna let everybody jump in here for a little bit longer. Give it like 2-3 minutes. We'll start going over everything. But yeah, man, this stuff's getting pretty insane. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, Randall. I wish more people followed Randall, man. He knows a lot of stuff. He worked with me right away on that first Is the Contract video, or Is the video I've ever done, and I just don't understand why nobody talks about ISDA. It's like the biggest problem in the entire world, but nobody really talks about it. It's crazy, man. Thank you, Hanzo. Appreciate it. I don't think the SEC is gonna fuck us, man. I think they're trying to help us every way they can, honestly. The swaps run deep, man. The stuff runs super deep. It's pretty insane. I'll wait one more minute here. We'll go in about a minute. Got about 100 people in here, so we can start going here in a second. But what we're going to go over today is going to be pretty much what could happen with the collapse of America. We're going to talk about, man, just a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about the derivatives market, how the entire world is finally realizing how this is a problem. They never expected us to wake up, and not only wake up as fast as we have, find out as much as we have, as quick as we have. So let's start going into the first thing. A lot of people, we're going to talk about the United States dollar here for a second. So a lot of people don't realize that the American dollar is basically a fiat currency is what they call it, which is basically backed by the government. It's no longer backed by a commodity. It's not backed by gold, anything like that. It's backed by how well a country is and, what the government says. So as you guys can see with these fiat currencies, they actually, one of the things I've learned about is they can fail, and they actually fail quite recently, or quite often. If you look at, you got Venezuela and Zimbabwe, blah, blah, blah. But what this means is let's say that your country's going to collapse, or it's going down, the banks collapse, everything. Well, your dollar is going to be basically, worthless at that point, or whatever happens, it's worth nothing, because this has happened to a whole bunch of countries. Let's see here. It loses even, what happens when the fiat currency collapses? It loses even more value and will eventually basically become worthless. This is the stuff people talk about in like the books where they're saying, you're going to be, burning dollar bills in fire pits and stuff. But so a lot of people are like, yeah, but Zimbabwe and stuff like that, America's way better than them. Well, yes, we are. But at the same time, you guys, you got to realize America is not inevitable, or it can collapse very easily. If you guys if you watched the video last night, we break down the derivatives market and how everything is broken down. And if you guys can see, there's over $2 quadrillion, which is more than in the entire world is in this. So, like I said, every single currency basically truly isn't worth anything. Like I said, there's nothing backing these things. Everything's been bought and sold and repackaged over and over to the point where it's all worthless. But if you guys come down here and look at the breakdown, what we learned last night is how the government is basically backing the stock market. They're propping it up. They're holding it up. And how do we do that? As we went over yesterday in the video, you're going to do it with these Treasury bonds, these repo bonds. And if you guys look at this chart here, this is the yield for the repos and the Treasury yields. Well, as you guys can see, they're just skyrocketing. They're skyrocketing. So they're propping it up with these. Well, what we also learned last night is those IOS orders. And these IOS swaps. So they're overnight index swaps. So what these guys are doing, these banks, is they're propping up everything. So if you guys look over here, look at how this is broken down. So this is how we get to 6 trillion, and this is what's cleared every single day. This is cleared daily, okay? The reason this is cleared daily, if you look on the bottom, is most of it comes from these iOS swaps. Well, what these iOS swaps are is, if you look over here, is these banks don't have money. So what do? They're borrowing these monies, or they're borrowing money with these swaps overnight at super small interest rates. And by doing this over and over and over, you guys can see this is like half of our debt. This is where almost all of our derivatives are. This is how people like Goldman, all these banks, they can be over leveraged 100, 136, 200 to 1, and they're not getting margin. They're not doing anything. This is how they're not defaulting, because of these iOS swaps. They're insane. What they're allowing these guys to do. And this is all being done in the ISDA market, this is why I keep telling you guys, ISDA is insane. Because when people start figuring out about ISDA, what's going to happen to these banks? These banks are all over leveraged. 100, like I said, 100, 136, 200 to 1. Those banks are no longer going to be able to do this, or they're going to collapse. They're going to need a bailout. Well, that thing we went over last night is massive. This is the thing that me and Randall have been waiting for a long time with the ISDA. I'm not going to go super into this, but basically what they're doing right now is, this has come from everybody around the world. This isn't like just the SEC saying, hey, this is a big, this is people from all over the world formed a group. It's called Group 30. Like I said, you guys, there's a ton of information in that last video I just put up. But Group 30, and also, we'll talk about them in a second. But Group 30 is from people all over, like I said, the smartest people around the world, because they're all ISDA members, and they realize ISDA is out of control. It's been unregulated forever. And one of the things that, like I said, my biggest tinfoil hat, everybody wonders, you remember when you watched the Big Short movie, and you guys saw Christian Bale? He was going to each one of those banks. Well, every time he went to those banks and they negotiated those contracts, Randall made a very good point. No, we all thought it was awesome. Well, what they were doing was ISDA agreements. That was the birth of an ISDA agreement. They weren't, those swaps and all that wasn't created. So they went in, they made a market for it, ISDA, and now they're the derivatives market, and this is where they do all those trading. So he went to each bank doing the housing market crash, and he was opening up ISDA contracts, agreements right in front of your eyes. So you have technically seen what they do when it comes to ISDA contracts. But like I said, this ISDA thing is insane what is going on worldwide. It is the biggest problem in the entire world that nobody's talking about. And now we're starting to figure it out. And this is the main reason why Powell, as you guys can see, with these overnight index swaps. I mean, look at how it breaks it down on inflation, everything. But these overnight index swaps, the government is, like I said, they're pushing these over for these banks to prop them up. So these banks, like I said, it's going to come crashing down. There's no way around it at this point. This is why I keep saying, if you have a bank in ISDA, go to a local credit union, a local mom and pop bank. Even if you're insured up to $250,000, I mean, when these banks collapse, it's going to be bad. It's going to go down hard. Like I said, this stuff's going to be rather insane. And this is why I keep saying, the more we look at all this money, look at this money. Look how much money they clear, how much they're clearing in a week. 31 trillion in a week. Look how much they're clearing year to date. You have trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, you guys, being passed around. So for everybody saying, man, they can't afford more than 3, 4, 500. They throw these trillions around like it's candy. We also learned that when they told us they got 1.7 trillion back in 2008, they ended up getting $29 trillion, and it didn't affect us. See, this is one of the things that I keep saying about this movement. This movement is bigger than everybody can realize. This Ponzi scheme was never meant to have us figure out, buy and hold the same stock. Why? Because that would collapse it. So what did they do? If you guys talk about the same stock, if you guys do that in any way, shape, or form for the last how long, it's going to be market manipulation, and you're going to go to jail. So then we didn't do it. Well, the problem is none of us is telling anyone to buy the stock. We're just giving everybody information, and people are taking that knowledge, which is why I keep saying knowledge is the biggest asset we got. They're taking that knowledge and they're buying because of that, holding because they go, well, eventually this is going to collapse. Everything, numbers don't lie. And every single number is pointing towards this bubble has to burst. And like I said, everybody that thinks, you know, when I showed you with this fiat money, like I said, all this stuff, this is another reason why billionaires and all these people, they're moving all their money into Bitcoin, offshores on top of that. This is why Biden was saying, Bitcoin can become a national crisis, because here's the problem. You have all the rich people in the world, and what are they doing? They're moving their money offshore. They're hoarding it. They're holding on to that money. They're not putting it back in circulation. So what do they need to do? They need the middle class to do that, or they need the middle class to pay for the taxes that those billionaires should be paying. Well, the middle class is already paying 23% of their checks on top of how the hell are they going to afford the taxes that these billionaires should have paid? Well, okay, so now you're draining out your middle class, and now who's the people putting money in circulation into the United States, you guys? It's poor people. Well, how? These poor people are living with their parents. How are they able to go put this money in circulation? They can't. And then on top of that, the rich billionaires, these guys were supposed to get these PPP loans to keep people in work, keep the middle class going, keep it so, money's going through the economy. Well, instead, all these pieces of crap are holding on to these PPP loans. So once again, all the rich people that were getting this money to help out are hoarding that money. So, like I said, this stuff is crazy. But now you guys are seeing why with these iOS swaps or OIS swaps, our economy is being propped up. Our banks are being propped up by these every single day. We're literally that close to pop it. And this proposal, this is why I'm saying I haven't been more excited in my life, you guys, about this proposal that's coming on. This is more than just the United States. This is worldwide. They're talking about, instead of having, they know the corruption in the United States. When they talk about a governing agency, we'll go over this real quick. When they talk about a governing agency, this isn't going to be like, oh man, the SEC or the United States or the bank's going to take over and more corruption. No, this is going to be 30 people, 40 people around the world will be on this panel, and they will be watching and clearing everything. So it's going to be pretty dang hard to have corruption in there when you have the entire globe in there, unless everyone around the entire globe's getting a piece of the pie. So they would all need to be corrupt. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. Obviously, it could still happen. But it makes it a lot harder than having one country just sit there like the United States and run everything. So this is going to be a massive, massive filing. But if you guys, like I said, watch that video, the group that is around the world is called G30 Working Group. They actually sent them out these 4 recommendations. If basically they're saying, you guys, this needs to be watched. This is becoming a problem. You're destroying the entire world, not just one economy, the world economy. And what they want to do, this is the SEC, Gary Gensler, when he was talking about, the plumbing, like I said, you guys, this stuff runs deep. This is the problem that people aren't realizing. So, look at this. You have corporations. The largest corporations now have more resources at their disposal than many nations. We should think of them as empires in the 21st century. Well, I just posted this today. Ken Griffin, he gave $20 million to this guy's campaign fund, this Republican for Illinois. Well, think about that. This Illinois governor, what's his paycheck? $250,000 maybe? So he just gave 600% of this guy's salary in a donation. Who do you think this guy is going to work for? What do you think this guy's going to do? He's going to vote whatever his boss, who just paid him 5 times his salary compared to the United States, is only paying me $250,000. Well, he paid me $20 million, so I got to go with him. This is the problem. This is what Hester Pierce is doing. Hester Pierce is getting all this money on the side, like we showed everybody. So she's not voting for the people. She's voting for the people paying her. So, like I said, this swamp runs so deep, and this ISDA is allowing everything. Like I said, this should be one of the biggest things anybody is talking about. But like I said, the world is figuring out this is not acceptable. This is going to collapse the entire world. these fiat currencies are only backed by these governments. What happens when the 99% wake up and go, the 1% has been stealing from us, fuck this, let's overtake the government, let's do whatever we need to do, blah, 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 whatever happens, happens. Anything could happen in life is my point. So, like I said, you guys see that the dollar, we're spending more on, look at this, you guys, think about this, look at this number. They spend more a day. They spend more a day to hide the fact that they've stolen trillions, quadrillions from you. They spend trillions a day just to make sure you guys don't figure it out. Look at that number. They spend that much money a day to make sure you don't figure this out. And that's not even talking about what they're paying the media. That's not talking about all the other stuff they're pushing away, the posts they push on, the stocks they bash, the narrative they push. I mean, think about that. Think how much money they're paying for all of that. Like I said, they're paying more to not let us know on these OISs than they're paying in anything else in the world. In the world, you guys. That is the most pathetic thing I have ever heard in my entire life. So, where everybody wonders, I mean, think about this. Ask yourself this. How can every single nation, think about this. How can every nation in the world be in debt? They're all in debt. How is that possible? Now you guys see why corporations have more say than these world economies, than these nations. Because they have more assets and more money than them. Because these nations are all in debt. How can the whole world be in debt? How is that possible? Where'd that money go? Oh, it all went into the derivatives market. You see what I'm saying? Every single thing, like I said, we're now waking up to this. The problem is, I mean, think about this. When you go to the bank, let's pretend you have, I don't know, 100,000, 150,000 in your bank, and you went to go empty your bank account. Do you think that they walked up to you and they would say, hey, yeah, we got that money for you right on hand? Okay, let's say they did, right? Now what would happen if 10 or 15 people did that? Do you think the bank's going to have that money all on hand? No. Why? They're going to have to fucking call buddies. They're going to have to call other banks, get that from them, because the second you deposit your money in a bank account, where's it go? Oh, that's right. They take your money, they fucking put all of it in derivatives market, and they play with your money, gamble and gamble. So if you lost your money, you don't know. It's still technically in there. It's just now in the derivatives market. But what's the bank do to make that money back? They go, fuck, I better put these package all these ones up together and then resell them in the swap market. Look at this, you guys. Look at this. Almost all of these are interest rate swaps. More than 90% of these overall cleared are interest rate swaps. So that's not even real money. It's money that people owe, and then they package them together, and then they ship it off. And guess what? What happens when those people fault on those loans? You know what they do? Well, let's say they have 15 people packaged up and they put them into this market. Well, let's say 5 of those people defaulted. We saw this in The Big Short. Let's say 5 of those people defaulted. What they're going to do now is go, all right, where's another 10 people that defaulted? Oh, we got another 15? Let's repackage that up. Do you guys remember in The Big Short when they were using those dominoes? Or the part where Ryan Gosling came in and he was, making his big speech with the dominoes, how they had the different levels. Well, they're doing the same stuff, you guys. They're basically taking these junk bonds again, but it's not housing bonds. They're taking junk interest rate bonds. Think about that. They're taking 90% of this is interest rate swaps. So they're taking junk interest rate swaps, and it's 2008 all over again, but on crack, because now there's nothing backing it. At least before in 2008, the housing market, they lost all the houses were still there. There were still commodities to back it, you guys. We're on fiat money. I just showed you guys. We're on fiat money. There's nothing backing any of this. So what can they do? This is why Powell had no choice but to say, well, we got to do inflation. Inflation jumped up 7 to 7.5, you guys. When it was in 2008 and everybody went crazy, inflation was at 3.4. It's at 7.5. That's insane. It's doubled 2008. Like I said, this is 2008 on crack. They didn't learn their lesson. 2008 happened, they gave them all that stuff to bail them out, and guess what they did? They dug the hole deeper. That's all they did with it. They dug it 5 billion. They dug it so deep, we're at quadrillions. the fuck is a six? We're at six. We're almost at $2 quadrillion, you guys. There's not $2 quadrillion in the world. Like I said, I mean, think about how messed up this is. This is why I kept saying we're on the brink of a collapse. If you guys, and what are they going to do if middle class wakes? This is the problem. What are they going to do if middle class wakes up to everything I just showed you? What are they going to do if all of us go out and say, you know what, fuck this. We're going to go buy Bitcoin, or we're going to go buy gold, or we're going to go buy some commodity for a little while, because those are all going to raise when this all comes busting down. Like I said, you guys do your own. None of this is financial advice. This is just a scenario. Let's say middle class starts taking that money out of the circulation again, like I was just showing you guys. Then what? What would they do? The government, what would they do? If all of a sudden middle class is like, you know what? We're hoarding our money too. Rich are hoarding their money. We're just going to work, save our paychecks. We're not going to the mall. We're not doing anything. Like I said, you guys see what's going on in Canada. They're taking a stand. What's going on in Canada is nothing compared to what's going on in the United States. Look at how much they spend a day. This is how much they spend a day to hide it. What do you guys think could happen if we took that $4 trillion and we did, I don't know, something smart with it, gave it back to the people, fixed our economy a whole bunch, you know, did anything other than, instead of taking that money to hide it from us, did it to fix the world? Like I said, how can that much money a day go to these swaps, these overnight fucking index swaps? Like I said, you guys, you're watching the government. This entire world was based on us not figuring out the Ponzi scheme we call the stock market. The fact that we're figuring it out, like I said, they had no answers for buy and hold. And everybody asked, what can we do? They have no answers, period. Period, for buy and hold. They can push this off. They can push this off. They can do whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter. In the end of the day, if we keep buying and holding, there's nothing they can do. They can't stop it. Because eventually, what are you going to do when the world knows, hey, they own 17 times the float, 35 times the float. These index funds can only go so far. These swaps, this derivatives market, like I said, this is the stuff, and this is what's going to change. On March 17th, this filing right here is massive. Like I said, the world's leaders came together. Look at these recommendations. We'll go over them real quick because I didn't go over them yet. What they want to do is with these repos is they need people, because right now there's fraud going on with these repos. So you guys, if you are watching this, this is how Citadel's involved right now. What they're doing is they're doing rehypothecation with treasuries. So what they're doing is they use this company right here. It's called Polyfox Trading LLC. Okay, this company only basically works in repos, and guess who owns it? Citadel. Well, what they're doing is they're taking those, they're doing all their junk, rehypothecating these bonds, and they're screwing over the United States Treasury bond. So think about that. They're taking all the money, they're making it worthless, they're hoarding it, they're not paying taxes, they're shorting the Treasury bonds through this. So the government has no choice but to prop them up. Well, how do you guys think Citadel's not getting margined? This is how. They're using these bonds with this market. It's all connected with each other. Everybody's propping it up because, you guys, if we figure this out, this is the problem. If the world wakes up to what's happening right now, what would happen tomorrow if everybody realized what I just said today? What would happen? Chaos. People would riot. They would run in the streets. Why? Because you guys have stolen not only my life savings, you've stolen my children's life savings. You've stolen how many generations of my family? Your family, everyone you know's family, so they can do what? Spend $4 trillion, you guys, a day. It's right here. It's right in front of your eyes. A day. Look how much we're spending compared to the rest of the world. And where are we spending it to? To hide it from us. It's insane. Like I said, our government, and even our currency now, you guys are now realizing our currency is based off of trust me, bro. Think of how fucking scary that is. Our world has been based off trust me, bro, since the collapse. And since we trusted them, did they do anything differently? No. They made it worse. So at what point do we go, what is going on? Yeah, like, There's 99% of us and there's 1% of them. Well, in the end of the day, when the 99 wake up, even if 50% woke up, 30%, 20%, what would happen? Like I said, our entire government is a sham. It's based off, the system is designed for you to go to work. This is why I post this to you guys every single day. You guys, everybody evolves. There are two ways to enslave a nation. One is a sword and the other is debt. I say this all the time to you guys. Why? They saw that the sword is what the rest of the world uses. And guess what? The whole world thinks all these other governments are awful places, bad places. And when you see a sword in your face, guess what? Your natural response is to fight back. When you enslave them with debt, you don't see that sword in front of your face. You don't have that fight or flight response. It's more in the back end. It's all over the counter. It's more sneakily around you. So you don't understand what's going on. So it's more of an afterthought. Why? Because they have you staring down at your cell phone, you guys. They have you staring down at the sword. Their sword is your cell phone. They got you with your cell phone 24/7 watching YouTube videos, playing games. Why they sit there and steal everything you've ever worked for. I mean, like I said, this is unreal. And everyone's propping each other up. And all of these corporations, like I said, these corporations have more money than nations. They call it corporate empires. I showed you guys this the other day. It's called a corporate republic. They're illegal in the world. So what do? Basically, a corporate republic is a corporation basically runs the government. They run it like a corporation. If you work for the government, if you do these things, everything will be privatized, including you got everything's privatized, man. You got hospitals would be privatized. Everything. It's crazy. And all that it's supposed to do, all that they want it to do, is just basically make profit, make money at everyone's expense, and what's best for the company is best for the government. Well, you can't do that, obviously, because there's, like, monopoly laws. Well, you guys, what do you do to avoid a monopoly? Monopoly's having so much power in one technical sector, right? Okay. Well, if I can't have too much power in one technical sector, what do? I buy it in 15 other things, like BlackRock. I'll buy every media conglomerate. I'll buy this, oil. You go into every field. Well, you're so powerful because you have so much say in so many fields. Guess what? You just basically have control, and you got all these friends that will push the other people to push your narrative because you're that powerful. And or if they don't do what you want them to say, guess what? They get cut off from that massive part of the world, that massive part of industry. They lose out on that much. The whole like I said, it's all, think about when you go to work. It's designed, who do you know? You know, most people get interviews off, I got this interview. How? Oh, my buddy showed me it. I work there. Somebody works there. And it's like, you see a lot of people with degrees that will get hired over somebody that isn't, like, when I first started coding a long time ago, when I first got into SQL development, I never worked in the field. But the thing was, I knew one person that worked at the company. And because I knew that person, I got the job. And one of my best friends that actually at the time went for that same job. He actually went to computer training. He worked at a bank for a while. He was in their, he was in their IT department. So, obviously, this dude's way more qualified than me, and I thought he was going to get it, and there's no chance I would have. But what ended up happening is I got the job, and he never got a call back. It's like, why? Because I knew somebody. There was, it's always that. It's always, what do you know? Handshakes, back end, everything's in. Like I said, that fire was not an accident. If you guys keep reading into it, fire marshals, everybody in the world that I've talked to that works in that industry, insurance agent. My wife's brother is an insurance agent. These guys all know this stuff. This would not, a shelf wouldn't have been able to do that. It just wouldn't have. Like I said, this stuff, not only that, go look at who all own the building, who they have ties to. They have ties to a whole bunch of people. Some people are going to put DD out on it that I know, so I don't want to give away too much on that fire yet. But that fire is definitely, like I said, it has to do with these ISDA contracts, these agreements, because they were all done between two parties. The person that cleared the ISDA contract, guess who it was, you guys? The person that cleared the ISDA contract was the one who wrote it, the bank. Well, the bank's in charge of the DTCC. You guys see how corrupt the United States government is because of these banks. Well, who the hell do you think's in charge of ISDA? It's all the banks. You guys saw it in The Big Short. He had to go to a bank, fill out an application with the bank, and the bank laughed him out of the building. It wasn't any guy. It was some representative in the bank that was what, a teller, right above a teller, came out and said and laughed at him. Like I said, it's these banks that are the lifeline to everything. These banks, well, like I told you guys a long time ago, the stock market became what is called a central bank regime. And you guys will see these words all the time. There's been 3 regimes in the world, in the United States stock market. And these guys have say on the rules and everything that happens. And the very first thing that this new central bank regime did, the very first day they made bonds and stocks negatively correlated. Why? Because that gives these banks and these hedge funds a natural hedge. That's why you guys see the bond market. Well, when the bond market starts tanking, everybody wonders why stocks go up. When the bond market, since they're negatively correlated, when bonds go down, the stocks go up. That's just how it works. Sorry, I need a drink quick. But like I said, all these people are just propped in this up. It's literally a bubble waiting to burst at this point, and there's nothing we can do about it other than said we got to take a stand at some point. This buy and hold is way bigger than all of us. We got to do it on lit exchanges. We got to do this thing, all this stuff right. We got to get our money out of these banks that are their lifeline. These banks that are spending $4.4 trillion a day to hide the fact that they've stolen 1.6 quadrillion from you. I mean, you guys, this is unbelievable. Like I said, this whole world, this whole government is, trust me. And then when you look at it, what do we pay our taxes for? What is the government truly doing for us? They provide military. Okay, so we need to have 1.6 quadrillion dollars into military. Like what are they doing? They're making these corporations rich, who are in the return, because this is what you guys don't understand with these politics. They get 250,000, 100,000. Fuck, that's a lot of money, dude. That's enough money to live in a year. Jesus. Well, when these so what they can do, and they can't take the bribes, but they can take these donations. So they'll just sit there and they work with these corporations behind the scenes. Like I said, this is unreal. We have all these people that talked about the Illuminati. You know who the Illuminati is, guys? It's these billionaire owners. It's Bill Gates. It's Amazon, Bezos. It's those guys. It's Elon. It's all these guys. They're the people that control everything. They put who makes the laws in place. $20 million. Like I said, how do you get around it? You take a donation from these guys. You promote them one day. That guy, that $20 million made more than you'll make in 10, 20 years, dude. We cannot, and if you guys look, they actually passed a law 3 years ago, which is so stupid. This law, pretty much, there's a new fund, and it's like an anonymous donation fund, where like they'll see that they register how much you donated, right? They'll say, this guy donated X, but they don't follow where it goes. So they don't know who they donated to. Now think of how messed up that is. So how can government officials, they want to track, think about this, they want to track, oh, your drug money, oh, you got to track every penny you guys do. But now they have a fund where they don't track where these billionaires throw $20 million into these funds? And who are they giving it to? They don't care where these campaign, so where's that money go? Are they even reporting that money to the campaign fund? Or is that $20 million that he went through the special fund, is that just being pocketed? You see what I'm saying? It's insane. And then what are they going to do even if they get charged? Acceptance, waiver, and consent. So they can't give them any personal crime or any capital punishment. It's a white-collar crime. So again, they're not going to get jail time. And if any of us did it, because we're blue-collar, it will literally be 20, 30 years. Every time you guys see the SEC cracking down on somebody, what is it? It's a random person. And everybody who's jacked up about this JP Morgan and stuff, Oh, the Doge is on it this time. The Doge is gonna get him. Oh yeah. You know what the Doge is gonna do? They're gonna look at the SEC, because guess what? The SEC issued the subpoenas. The SEC did, not the Doge, not the government. We'll go over this too quick. If you're in Canada, by the way, if you're in Canada and you think that you're out of payment for order flow, you're way wrong, and you're getting screwed harder than all of America. You guys thought your stuff was better than ours? They're not only doing payment for order flow behind you guys with these markets, they're charging you $9.99 an individual trade. So just so you guys in Canada know, you're getting screwed pretty dang hard. What was I looking for? Oh, here's another quick flood we're going to clear up too. So everybody was jacked up about Morgan Stanley here, like, ah, oh, man, they're getting removed from the NSCC and oh, blah, blah, blah. This is one account, you guys. Okay, they just bought E-Trade, okay? They just bought E-Trade. So this account that they're closing was pretty much their broker-dealer, because they're going to switch it over to E-Trade. So all they did is retired that account from the NSCC. So this is literally zero big deal. It will do nothing. They're still part of the NSCC. I can't remember what I was looking for, dude. I've been going too crazy on this. What the hell was that? I can't remember what I was talking about. Someone in chat want to remind me what I was going on about. Sorry, I was going pretty hard. What's this? No. It was something like that, man. I can't remember. Either way, whatever. We'll just keep going back. But like I said, as you guys are seeing, everything is fake. Even the US dollar is pretty much worthless. It's worth whatever the government, trust me, brilliant. It even writes on, in God we trust. So I guess we need to trust in God, because we can't trust in our government, man. We can't trust in the government, like I said. But, oh, I never even went into this stuff. The biggest part of the whole video. So, March 17th. What they're doing, these guys are saying, they're throwing these guys these options. They have to pick one of these options, because, like I was saying, the smartest minds in the world have come together, and they're looking at the same thing we're seeing. Because if I can find it, some nerd on my computer with Google after hours, and tell you these government officials know what's going on. So, what they're saying basically is, you guys, since nobody's clearing it, if you're watching here, I'll pull this up real quick. My screen, I'll just show you this. 1 second, I got my channel video. Too many freaking. Oh, here it is. No, there it is. All right. So, this is what's going. Classic. Of course, there's a video. So, this new thing here. So, I was all excited for Phase 5. I went over Phase 5 way before it happened in September. And what happened is they started monitoring this deposit for these guys. Because right now what they used to do is they'd write these IS agreements and they'd slap a credit support annex on it. And that's it. Nobody was there to watch if they actually deposited this stuff. So, sorry, I just don't have this file, so I had to pull this stupid video up. Alright, so right now, the way it works, this is going to be a hedge fund, okay? As you guys can see, this is all over the counter. Not only is it over the counter, it's not getting posted to the United States government. It's not being backed by the OCC. What's happening is it's being backed by this bank. Well, what's going on is these hedge funds or these banks, hedge funds or these brokers or market makers, whatever. They're going to these banks. This will be your bank 100% of the time. Is the primary members. So if you come up here, click on this. You can go to ISDA members, ISDA.org/membership. It'll bring you right here. Check out if your bank's there. But what's going on is those primary members are able to write these contracts, okay? So they have to pay a whole bunch more to become a primary member to be able to write these contracts. Now, this guy's going to come up to this bank, and they're going to do what's called a master agreement. This master agreement's going to only say what they want. Like, I need these shares for a year. You're going to say that I sent you these shares, blah, 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 for a year. Say that you got them, and the bank will say, yep, I sent them. Well, what's going on is they're not really sending these shares. So the bank's saying it. They're taking the deposit in the credit support annex. These guys are slapping on credit support annexes, showing they have collateral, but they're not depositing collateral. So guess what? They're using the same collateral over and over and over and over so they can continuously write these stupid ISDA contracts. Well, at that point, like I said, they're letting the banks just write everything and run the whole world. Well, What they're trying to do now is, instead of these two just clearing it with each other, they want a world centralized government agency that will be right here on top. So when they write this contract, instead of the bank going, yeah, this credit support index looks good, everything's great, you got the collateral, which is why these banks are 136 leverage to 1, because even when these guys don't have the collateral, guess what? They're writing the collateral on these swaps, and then they're just selling that anyways. So it's like I said, it's a joke, dude. But this new government's going to come in here, they will clear it instead of the bank, and that, well, like I said, that will be worldwide, as you can see. Where the hell is that document? This document, quick. So what they want to do is U.S. Treasury Bonds, because like I said, they're taking these Treasury Bonds and they're rehypothecating those as well in this ISDA contract. So what they want to start doing is Treasury Bonds will need to be centrally cleared. They either need to do one of these 4 options now. They either need to be centrally cleared, electronic interbroker-dealer platforms, even if they're anonymous, will need to start being cleared, which, as we went over in that last thing on the top, freaking windows open. Alright, so as we went over here on the last thing on the top, where was it? 10% is still not being even cleared at all, period. So you got 10% not being watched. So this will actually stop that as well. So even if these people are coming in as anonymous, which this should be family offices, so that should be massive, because like I was telling you guys before, family offices have $7.6 trillion compared to these hedge funds that have $3.4 trillion. So that's a massive, massive, massive difference. So now they're actually going to watch these hedge funds that are working in the Treasury Department. Like I said, they've been screwing over the United States dollar forever. Otherwise they're going to make them study out. They basically otherwise want them to study which one of these models is going to be the best. So I can post this on the bottom in case you guys want to check these out. But here's the models that they have. The options to do. It'll actually tell us the cost of them, the structure. So if you guys want to actually break this down, I'm not going to go over every one of these models. It'll take 30 more minutes. But they're basically saying, and then the last option, which tells me that they're saying this is a big deal, is the last option is they can sit there and all these bank regulators and all these people can try and solve this themselves. If they can come up with some magic solution, at that point, then they can figure out their magic solution and they can try and go that route. But the fact that 3 out of 4 of them is saying we're going to centrally clear everything or figure something else out is massive for us. So, like I said, on March 17th, we'll find out which one of these options they pick, which is massive. And then hopefully when that starts getting, implemented in, like I said, this ISDA contract these ISDA market. It's a third market, and it's the biggest problem in the world. Like I said, it's killing not only our economy, it's killing the world economy. And on top of that, when we learned in those lawsuits, they're using this ISDA contract to hide short interest in the United States. And they're using this to hide all their garbage. What will happen is a regulator will call them ahead of time. And after that, they'll say, hey, we're going to come on Friday. So what they'll do is they'll open an ISDA contract with somebody in, the European market. We've already showed you guys flex options that were open up in the European market earlier. They'll open them in the BDRs, wherever they need. They'll open those in another market to where when our regulators come in, you can't do anything. They won't see that. It's hidden. It's, like I said, it's just a complete joke. But this is why I wanted everybody to protect themselves in all my videos. I keep saying that at the end. Make sure when you realize this burst, because there's so many people that want this, this massive collapse and all this stuff. And you guys got to realize the size of this collapse that could possibly happen. Like I said, they're clearing a day over $4 trillion in overnight swaps that doesn't even exist. And all of those, as you guys saw, are backed by what? Interest rate swaps. So money that didn't even make it, or is not even being paid, or might have been defaulted on. Think of how fucked up that is. Like I said, we're playing with fake money at this point. And the more they print, like I said, what's really backing this dollar at this point? So, I don't know, you guys. This stuff's getting pretty crazy. I'm going to look over at the chat. Sorry, I've been going on and on. If anyone has any questions or whatever, go ahead. I'm looking at the chats now. If anyone wants to talk about anything, ask me anything. But like I said, with the selling aspect, you guys, I'm not going to tell you a price, but you guys can see what they're doing to you. Look in front of your eyes. They spend $4 trillion a day to hide this from you. They gave $29 trillion, like 15 trillion that day, to the world when they lied to us and told us they only took 1.7. Do you think that they can't? Where's that money? What they can do if they really need to? Guess what? Sell those swaps again. Because why? Why not? You're selling it to the rich people for the rich people over and over. Sell them again. Pay us our fucking money. If you guys think that AMC, like I said, GME, this stuff is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity at this point. With how shorted these guys are, with all these synthetics, the CNS program, these ISDA contracts, all this stuff. Lighting buildings on fire. Yeah, this would take away that liquidity, massive, infinite pool I keep talking about. Like I said, everybody's been talking about this and that and this and that, but the most important thing that we've had to deal with is ISDA. Everything is hidden from ISDA. The amount, if I had to say what has the most loopholes out of everything, it's ISDA. ISDA is, like I said, it's how they get away with all this stuff. They can push off FTDs. They can... Everybody wonders how people get off reg show list. If you guys looked at the Overstock lawsuit, it's sham resets, sham closeouts. They take shares in these ISDA agreements. They never get sent. They never get received. And then when the contract expires, it cancels out on both ends. And guess what? They just got away with short interest. They had, they have a certain amount of days to get off the reg show list. Well, they just do that to get off the reg show list, make it a 30-day contract, 10-day contract. Boom, they got off the reg show list in 3, 4, 5 days. Crazy, isn't it? Like I said, it's just unbelievable how deep this swamp goes, man. That's why I keep saying to everybody, what is our biggest way to fight back? Our biggest way to fight back is to take our money out of these banks. Put them in your local mom and pop bank. That's not... Your local mom and pop bank isn't doing anything shady. I can tell you that much. They're the ones that are doing everything correctly and barely making it, or making it, a decent living, not an insane living. They're the people that are actually going to take care of you, actually have great service, things like that. So, like I said, they're going to be insured just like all these major banks. The product, like I said, all these companies in the world, these global empires I just showed you, these people writing these ISDA contracts. The whole world's designed for us to keep going to them and not think of these other banks. Think of these other things. If these guys go down, oh man, we got to bail them out. Well, guess what? If everybody left those banks and went to these other banks, these massive global powers, these empires, if they go down, it will no longer be catastrophic to the entire economy. Why? Because all of our money and everything else will be somewhere else. We won't care. Our money will be safe. That's what I'm saying, you guys. Make sure your money is safe in the future no matter what. Credit unions, 1,000%. I'm in a credit union. I've always been in a credit union. I preach them anytime you can, man. They'll give you the best interest. They're an amazing way to go. I've never met a person that has a credit union ever and has told me that they are upset with them. Their interest rates are usually way lower when you guys go get loans. Like I said, these corporations, it's just like these guys, YouTubers, man. All these YouTubers, these media, all this stuff. We give them the power even when we make fun of them. Every time you post, hey, Charles Gasparino or whatever, Gasparino or whatever his stupid name is, all these companies, they're saying this about AMC. Who cares? Ignore it. instead of saying that and attacking them, post DD. That's the stuff we need to do. You guys, we got to post things that help us. Ignore the bullshit. Don't post it up to everybody. Be like, dude, let's attack this company. Fuck them. Like I said, we give all of these people power. And it's as simple as taking your stuff out of them and pretending they don't exist. It's that simple, my friends. I'm not going to go over YouTubers I trust, man. Y'all watch whoever you want. I've already said my piece on tubers. I'm not here to rag YouTubers, man. I'm just saying. It's the same concept. When with these guys that are massive, you've seen these guys turn their backs on you. You've seen these guys change everything they said for over a year. They don't care. They've become a media conglomerate. It's the same thing. It's clickbaits. It's this. It's not factual information anymore. Everybody sits there and screams about these media guys. Man, these guys are doing clickbait. That's all these guys do, these companies. They say one thing, and an hour later, they'll put out another article saying the complete opposite. How many times have you heard one of these YouTubers say the same thing? Oh, this, and then a day later, well, never mind, it's the complete opposite. Because that's the same stuff. We give, in the end of the day, you guys, y'all have more power than you think. As a collective group, with how many people, minds, our reach, what we can do is, like I said, we can control so much in this world. You just got to realize you have that power and stop doubting it. That's the problem. Everybody thinks, just like when it comes to voting for these elections and crap. Everybody says the same thing. Oh, one person, it's one vote. It's not going to make a difference. Well, when 1 million people do per state, when the 99% do, in the end of the day, if we get the 99% on the same team, guess who's going to win politics? Guess who's going to finally decide what politician goes in? This is why I keep telling you guys, stop worrying about blue, stop worrying about red. We've all been so brainwashed on who's a Democrat, who's a Republican. They don't give a fuck. They're taking money from these guys the same. You just, like I said, they're taking $20 million the same. They're all taking money from them. And a lot of people sit there and focus on, oh man, well, Ken Griffin, he mainly does Republican because they're all pro-Democrat. Well, guess what? Virtue's guy is pro-Democrat, so either way, like I said, you gotta look at everything. There's no winning in this. We need to get these trash out. All of it out. Get them out. I don't care what color they're wearing. Get them out. The problem is all these trash, the swamp, they get so comfortable. Because why? Some of these congressmen, we got unlimited terms. I'll be in this for 45, 50 years. Even though the guy's 62 years old and out of touch with reality. Oh, I'll sit in my chair for another 65 more years because no one votes for me. I'll just keep fucking to people. And then you wonder why these old fucking rich tool bags families I've been sitting here forever, dude. Like, they can't go anywhere. Why? This is the most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life, you guys. One of the richest bankers, the most successful bankers in the world. You know what he said? He goes, they asked him about cash, and they were asking about how, these banks don't have money on hand, and they're talking about, like, it seems like the world's getting away from, currency and getting, away from, metals and gold backed and currency that's backed by everything. And you know what this guy says? He goes, money's good, money's great and everything, but when you spend money, because think about it, it's in your hand, it's in your possession, it's yours. When you spend money, you're spending your own. I like credit, it's way better, because when you use credit, you're using other people's money. That was literally what he said. So these bankers are literally saying, I'm stealing from you guys. I'm living my luxurious life off other people. I don't give a fuck. It's amazing. I don't have to spend a single penny. I don't ever have cash on me, so the rest of the world doesn't need cash. Like I said, you can't even go to the bank and take out. If you guys got $1 million tomorrow, let's say it popped, y'all made $1 million. Where would you guys go? It'd go into what? Your Wells Fargo account? Your Bank of America account? Well, guess what? What are they gonna do when they get that money? What are you gonna do when Bank of America gets $1 million, but Bank of America was part of the collapse? And guess what? Bank of America just lost all this money. Guess how much of that million you're gonna get? $250,000. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. What's gonna happen if you guys put that money into stuff? Like I said, make sure when you get that money, you're gonna be smart with it. Very smart with it. Put it in stuff that's gonna go up in value. Like I said, this shit's so crazy, and there's so many people have so many shares to where you would become the next insane generational wealth. If that happens, look at what the hell we've had happen to us. Just don't let it happen again. Put that money towards some good shit for once. We all don't need to be these corrupt piles of trash. In the end of the day, it's in your bank account. If you have over millions of dollars, lifetime money, you're gonna make how much off interest? Like I said, we don't need to hoard it. We don't need to make the same mistake these guys are. It's not always just about us. Put it into the circulation on the economy. Otherwise, guess what? They're going to just take it from us in taxes anyways. It's the same stuff. Said these guys are evolving. They're growing. They're learning. We need it too. Money is not... It's freedom. Yes, but it's like... Eventually, there is a point where you have too much. Believe it or not. When Elon Musk just sells all these shares because it's like, whatever, fuck it, I'll just throw in taxes. That's ridiculous. That's too much. Nobody in the world Nobody in the world has done such a contribution that they need to have a. What the hell is Apple and Amazon sits there and they deliver everything. Well, guess what? If Amazon didn't exist, we would have to get off our fat, lazy asses and go to the store. That would be the holy difference. It's not like he changed the world that drastically. None of this stuff has changed it to where these people need what they have, where they should have more money than an entire government, an entire nation. No one has contributed any of that. Nobody should have these family offices that are unregulated when they have trillions of dollars over there and they can just buy and do what they please. So no matter what, you know what these family offices do? When the world economy crashes, all they're meant to do is make sure these rich billionaires don't lose a penny. And then on top of that, you know what happens? The government gives them money. So now not only are they bailed off by their family office money and all this other stuff, the government makes sure that they profit. Like I said, it's just a joke. These last 2 years, if you guys Google it right now, the last 2 years has been the biggest transfer of wealth in human history. And guess where it all went? The 1%. Look it up. Like I said, Google it. It'll take you 1 second. And you'll go, holy crap. In the last 2 years, the pandemic's happened. And the only people that have suffered, the middle class and the poor. While the rich have done nothing but ship champagne that we've paid for. Made extra bottles to go put in their fucking little wine cellar. I said, this world's a joke. It's thieves. What happened? The mafia took over our government. How do you get rich in America? Truly, you commit crime. It's that simple. You see it every day. You commit crime that turns out to be legal. You steal. You steal legally. You get into a position where you are in a hedge fund, where you're a white collar, where it's just cost of business. And that's how you get rich. You just steal. You don't work hard. What kind of message is that to the world? Think about that. What message is that to the world? You just steal. And then if you work hard, you get stolen from. Okay, who the fuck wants to live in that kind of country? I get stolen from if I work harder? Like I said, it's crazy, you guys. Does he? Oh, grab him. Is that pasture still here? Okay, I'll be right back, you guys. 1 second. All right, I am back. I let my dog in. Like I said, my friends, we gotta just said make sure you guys truly are safe with this stuff. Put your money after the squeeze and smart stuff. I gotta get going though, you guys. My wife is ready to go. We're gonna go do some errands. So thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Have a good night.